It's episode 31 of the Underseason podcast.
Yes, 31 of the barbecue show. Let's go.
All right, let's do the intro for this one, and it is...
Fucking Willie T.
What's up, everybody? Smoking Willie T from Houston, Texas, and you're watching the Underseason barbecue show at Meatstock, Sydney, Australia.
That was awesome. He was a legend, that guy.
He was, wasn't he? And this is a very special episode, this one, because it's your birthday.
Do you know I had to get ChatGPT this morning to tell me how old I was?
How old are you?
Fucking 37, apparently.
Jesus, you're getting on, brother.
Getting old. And that was a surprise. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, it was your birthday yesterday, though, right?
Well, another story is I told my wife that my birthday was tomorrow, and she's like, you're an idiot. It's the next day. So I didn't even get the days right.
Anyway, in this episode, we've got a Meatstock Sydney unpack. We've got a mind-blowing sausage. We've got the Texas Monthly Top 50 about to be revealed, so that's pretty exciting for the guys over there. We've got a bit of beef Shin redemption, and the king of the New York pizza has been dethroned and replaced.
Okay, we've got so much in this episode, but just before we get started, let's briefly talk about Meatstock Sydney. We've got so much to get through. We're going to have to cut through this, but it was a great weekend.
It was amazing, mate. I'm still absolutely buzzing, but the come down afterwards is real, knowing that there's no meat stocks for 9 months now, but doesn't mean we stop. I mean, the planning's already started for making 26 even bigger.
Yeah, so the crowds were massive. I think anyone that was there on the Saturday, the buzz, the vibe, it felt like all of Sydney was there.
Bloody did, mate. And they were all happy too. I didn't see anyone sort of moping around and whinging, so...
Well, on that, the lines were long. We probably need to get a few more food vendors in, but there's this balance between quantity and quality, and I feel like no one complains about the food. Everyone loves the food. Obviously, the lines are long. I didn't see anyone really that unhappy about it, but the vibe was awesome.
I guess it's called barbecue for a reason, bro.
Yeah, well, it's the same. If you go to Texas and you want good barbecue, expect to line up. The vibe was amazing. The bull riding, I couldn't fault it, to be honest. And I'm biased, but I think just everyone had a fun time.
Yeah, I had a ball, mate. And yeah, the vibes were all-time high. Yeah, it was just such a great event. The weather held up. It was sick. And
I wanted to point this photo out here. There's some cool merch going on here. She's made a dress out of one of our Meatstock shirts.
Yeah, funny story. These guys pulled me off stage. They're actually fellow Tasmanians too. I got to meet all these guys and yeah, they were a bunch of good characters. They were there all 3 days. I'm pretty sure they were sending it the whole time.
Good on them. And there was some awesome barbecue served too.
Yeah, there definitely was. That's what we're all there for at the end of the day.
Okay, well, before we get into the show, I've got a couple of thank yous, and I'm just going to make it brief. But if you've ever watched Chef's Table on Netflix and you watched the barbecue season, you would have seen Lennox Haste. He has Firedoor in Sydney, and I don't know this guy, but the guy on the left in this photo here, his name's Ernest Cervantes. He's the chef at Burnt Bean Co. I would say he's the top favourite to take out the #1 in the Texas Monthly. I reached out to Lennox and I just said that Ernest was coming in and could he show him around? And he did. He went to the trouble of showing them around the restaurant. He gave them the rockstar treatment. And so I just wanted to say thanks because that was really nice of him to go out of his way to give Ernest and his business partner a great experience.
Yeah, Ernest and Super Dave got the VIP treatment well and truly.
And he also went to Patenio, which for me is like the OG of live fire cooking in Australia. It's where I kind of fell in love with that format of cooking. So Chef Fox, thanks for showing the boys around. They had a great time. They said to me they pretty much ate the entire menu.
As you would.
And last but not least, they went to Woodcut at Barangaroo, which is new, and the quote was, mind blown.
Bloody oath, it looks good. Just little tasty morsels there.
So thanks to the lads there for looking after the boys.
Yeah, a bit of behind-the-scenes inspiration I reckon they've taken back to Texas.
All right, now speaking of high-end culinary exploration, I've got these.
This is a fucking stitch-up waiting to happen. I notice you've got the sour one and I've fucking got the hot one placed in front of me, mate.
So I've got a treat. You see these in the States all the time, but I only just saw them at a local convenience store, and they are pickles.
Pickle in a pouch.
Pickle in a pouch. And I've got a sour sis, and you've got the hot one.
The hot mama.
Hot mama. So what we're going to do is we've got to eat these over the course of this episode. You don't have to eat them all at once, right? Because people are going to be somewhat disgusted. But over the course of this entire episode, this has got to be done by the time we get to the end.
I'm going hard and fast, mate. I'm going to try and get it. I'm not going to try and do what that lady did with that block of butter a few episodes ago, but I'm going to try my best because this thing doesn't state what it's got in it to make it hot, so it's probably full of preservatives and it's probably going to hurt. But yeah.
The problem is they're in this big pouch of liquid, so I'm just worried about getting it all over myself.
Jesus, that's a girthy one.
How did they get this in the pouch?
I don't know. Maybe they swell up when they absorb all the liquid. But anyway, don't cheers food, mate.
Cheers.
I hope a bit of heat translated onto yours then.
I'm a bit worried about this. I can taste the plastic that it came in.
Yeah,
Can you taste it?
I can. I'm not getting much heat yet, which I'm happy about.
Well, I've spilled it everywhere.
At least you didn't get it on the sound desk.
This thing is just going to sit on my desk here, and I'm going to just chip away at it for the rest of the episode.
Mine's actually really well balanced, nice and sour too. The heat's not quite there yet.
Okay, so that's going to be a bit of fun for the rest of the episode. You've got yours sitting on paper towel. I'm just going to sit mine on the table.
You're raw dogging it, mate.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat all this.
It's a meal.
It's so big. Okay, moving on. Let's get the episode started. No more fun and games. It's the fuck up of the week, and this one was posted by Jay Dawson. He says, "Do I get some kind of award for singeing hairs and burning myself and lighting the grill? I feel like an idiot." What are we looking at here?
I reckon he's taken the hood up too soon and he's got a bit of backdraft and a bit of whoosh. But no, you don't get anything, mate. You get a welcome to the club.
That's right. Anyone who's been in barbecue at some point has done this, and he singed his eyebrows, nearly off, by the way. He singed his hair and also his beard, and he's done a good job of it.
He has, and this actually happened to a good friend of the show on the weekend at Meatstock, Troy from Beers in Christchurch. He was doing the burger hand-in for the SCA. He's cooking on a drum of all things, and he lifted the lid too quick, got a little flame mushroom cloud. All his arm hairs, all his facial hair, his eyebrows are gone. He used to pride himself on his monobrow. That's now gone. The funniest part about that is Troy had an epiphany earlier in the week and decided, I'm going to shave my beard off. So he had a big, long red beard. And if he still had that at Meatstock, the whole thing probably would have gone up.
Yeah, he would have done Michael Jackson.
Yeah, bloody oath, mate.
All right, so he says, "The only thing that hurts worse than my eyebrows, lips, tip of my nose, neck, right forearm, and worst of all, is my pride."
I reckon.
So, everyone in the comments sort of thought it was the old gas barbecue that click, 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 you keep clicking, the thing doesn't auto-ignite, there's a build-up of gas, and then all of a sudden on the 10th go, poof, up it goes, right? But he posted a picture of his barbecue, and that doesn't look like a gas grill to me.
Doesn't even look lit. A bit of smoke there, but everything's still raw. But yeah, it looks like it's got a heap of charcoal underneath it.
So some of those chunks of meat are quite thick, and those veggies, they're going to be done in about, 20 minutes, but that big chunk of meat's going to take an hour or so.
But look at this. You can tell that this rack comes down with the lid, and there's some residue there. He's closed it on that chicken there, I think.
So I really don't know what's happened here, because it's not a gas grill. It's a charcoal grill, but he's got all the meat on, but the charcoal's not lit.
No, he's getting some fajitas ready by the look of it too, with what's going on.
Jay, if you know what's going on here, mate, let us know. How did you burn yourself is what we want to know.
That's it. And do it again, but film it this time.
Okay, this one was posted by Nora Sophia, and it's a fake account. But she's posted this picture to the internet and titled it 19-hour brisket. The kiddos are dancing in their seats while eating, so they definitely approved. And what's happening?
That's a very, very, very overdone brisket. With they've sliced it through the middle. There's lots of splinters going on. Good smoke ring, which would explain it being probably cooked naked for 19 hours. I reckon you could still save that, smash it up, put it in some gravy, have a pie. I mean, good brisket, bad brisket. It's all brisket.
It looks like it's been taken to like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just gone over. Maybe they didn't have a thermopan and just let it run. I mean, it's wrapped in butcher's paper, so they must have sort of known what they're doing. Jay Lee in the comments was referring to the children in the post, and she says, "Are you sure they aren't choking?" And Rick says, "Oh, look, it sharpened your knife for you." Joshua said, "Did you yell timber when you cut into it?"
I think everyone's been a little bit harsh. I mean, it's a bit mean even putting it in fuck up of the week, to be honest.
Well, she is overdone.
And she is a fake account.
And yes, it's a fake account, so we don't feel too bad about it. Okay, moving on to dishes of the week. And wow.
Fuck me. Frame it and hang it in the Louvre.
That is stunning. What we're looking at here is a pizza from Toasted Pizza Co. in Magnolia, Texas. And it's a pepperoni Detroit-style pizza with these little kind of like, look, I don't know, maybe ricotta cheese flowers.
Yeah, it looks so good. And I'm a fan of just that little hint of the green peppers there too, just to take away from just all that meatiness. But wow, like finish with a bit of hot honey, Detroit style, fucking winning.
Do you reckon they're green peppers or jalapenos?
Fucking jalapenos now that you say it. We're in Texas.
So, originally when I looked at this picture, I saw the pooling of the fat in the pepperonis and I was like, it's a little bit too fatty, but I think it's hot honey.
Yeah, hot honey's it's the go-to now for pepperoni pizzas, bro.
When did that become a thing?
I'm not sure, but I'm definitely not disappointed.
This is another little shot there. I was curious, so I did go digging, and those little rosettes are actually ricotta cheese.
So good. Bit of a sprinkling of Parmesan to finish there. That's just inject it straight into me, bro.
Another reason to get to Texas.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so we're slowly chipping away at these pickles. And mine, it's too much for me, bro. You're nearly done. Mine's too sour.
No, go first, go home.
Okay, so next. So speaking of dishes of beauty, this one was posted by a good friend of ours, Paul Sullivan. He's an amazing butcher, and this is stunning.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is a prosciutto-wrapped tomahawk. Paulie's one of the hardest working members of the Discriminators crew. His passion for butchery is second to none.
So he titled this Midweek Treat. It's a dry-aged King Henry, pocketed and stuffed with garlic butter and then wrapped in pancetta. Not gonna lie, it was amazing.
Wow.
That's a lot of levels.
It is. Do you reckon you could towel that all up on your own? You'd have to share that, wouldn't you? There's a lot to unpack.
There is. This is the dish he cooked after he's cooked it, and he says if the flavour of the dry aging didn't get you, now he's dry aging it as well, for crying out loud, the garlic butter and the pancetta just smacked you. So that's just flavour bomb on top of flavour bomb.
So you'd have to reverse sear that, then finish it in a pan with some butter, surely.
100%. It doesn't. It looks like he's cooked it in the oven or the smoker to some degree, and then just sort of finished it. Potentially, he might have cooked the whole thing in the oven.
Yeah, but, just butter bathed it.
It doesn't really have that look of being in the pan, and it didn't need to because obviously it's wrapped in the pancetta. But pretty interesting looking dish though.
Amazing. Paulie's now in charge of staff meals.
Okay, next. This one was posted by Bill Dumas, so let's watch.
That's right, boys and girls. Peach cobbler sausage, right there. You might ask, where's that going? Well, I'm going to tell you. This is all headed to Meatstock, Sydney. Every last link of it. And we got another load to go to get it all loaded up and get it all sorted out.
What's going on here?
So this is the sausage sensei who was one of our guests at the Fire Kitchen at Meatstock, and he created a peach cobbler sausage. And this thing blew my mind. It was amazing.
Well, let's look at a picture of it here. This is the dish that he served. Peach cobbler sausage with a bit of whipped cream.
So whipped cream, he finished it with a Jack Daniel's reduction. I believe it's candied walnuts on there too. And my first bite, I was really confused and I was trying to unpack it. But I basically had to tell my brain to shut up and enjoy this moment. And it was just fucking phenomenal. Like, was it a dessert? It's still a pork sausage at the end of the day, and I couldn't come to a conclusion other than the fact that it was banging.
Yeah, for me, I couldn't tell. My palate couldn't determine whether it was sweet or savoury or what the hell was going on. But I agree, it worked. And I think it was so different, you couldn't not like it.
Yeah, everyone that I know that tried one was in the same boat. They're like, wow, I was just transported somewhere else. And the fact of like meeting Bill and his eclectic personality translated into sausage form was all part of the experience.
It was. How's your pickle going, by the way?
I'm gone, bro. I told you I was
on.
sending it early. What do you mean, come on? I've finished.
Yeah, but I'm starting to think I should have swapped and given you the sour one. It's so sour.
It wasn't even jalapeno hot, so I'm happy about that. I don't know how the guts are going to feel later, though. It does taste quite artificially heated.
I've got pickle juice everywhere. We're going to need to take a break so I can get a paper towel out and clean this pickle juice up.
At least you won't cramp.
Okay, so moving on to the news, and in under 2 weeks, actually by the time this episode drops, it might only be a few days away, but the Texas Monthly will drop its 50 best barbecue restaurants in Texas, aka the world, for me anyway. It's the Bible. I think they only drop it every 3 years, so it's pretty important.
Yeah, and it's a big feather in the hat too. I mean, you see stories on YouTube. I do a lot of watching, you know, the tales of guys getting put in the top 50 and then all of a sudden their restaurant is just on people's radar.
Yeah, anyone in the top 10, you may as well have a lineup out the door for the next 3 years. So it's an important list for a lot of businesses. Now, it's judged by a guy called Daniel Vaughan. In my opinion, there's no one more better placed or well-versed in barbecue to judge this thing. There are other ways to do judging where you get your peers to vote, for example. But I think this guy knows more about barbecue than anyone, and I think his lists in the past have been pretty accurate. So I'm a big fan of the guy. I think he's well credentialed to do it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the top 50, but more importantly, the top 10 plays out. Because I think there's going to be a bit of a shake-up. Now, the reason why I say this is my hunch, right? I feel like the top 10 will be made mostly from restaurants that are more like future school than either old school or new school. So in the past, the top 10 used to feature Snow's, Franklin Barbecue, and I could be wrong. This is just my guess. But barbecue has evolved a little bit in the last 3 to 6 years into like a third wave, if you call it. You know, in coffee, they have first wave, second wave, third wave. Well, I kind of feel like we're on the third wave of barbecue, and I did nickname it Future School. Now, I could well be wrong. This is just my guess.
Yeah, some big names in there. I don't think Big Don's is going to take it out, though.
No, so it's only Texas, right? So
that's not a diss, Big Don's. It's just that you're not in Texas. You're right up there, brother.
So there's a few names that are on my list that are obviously outside of Texas and don't apply. But here's my hit prediction, right? So I think if I had to pick my top 5 in order, Burnt Bean Co., Leroy and Lewis, Goldie's, Interstellar, Truth, that's my guess. I want to know what your guess is because obviously we're not in Texas. We've been a few times, eaten at a lot of these restaurants, but just seeing people's reviews and the hype around these sorts of places, that's my top guess. So who's your money on for the top 5? We'd love to know.
Hell yeah, and we can't wait to see how this pans out too, because, I mean, a lot of these guys in the top list have become personal friends of ours too, especially through the show and that sort of thing, and it's almost like the barbecue Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the big one. It's the big one. If you're in a barbecue restaurant in Texas, this is the big one. This is the one you wait for. This is one you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go look at the results. And it's the one that means the most.
5 o'clock in the morning is lunchtime for half these guys too.
That's right. But just to clarify too, this whole future school third wave of barbecue, if you don't have the basics right, if your brisket isn't banging, if everything else on the menu, if the new school and the old school isn't perfect, then I don't think the future school comes into play. I think you've got to have the basics fundamentally right before you go off and get creative with your barbecue.
Well, you got to walk before you run, don't you?
100%. And I think some people are doing the opposite. Some people are getting creative before they get the brisket perfect.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Jeebus.
So this one was posted by Audrey Mayette, and she says, I have a new smoker, and I'm using my mum for scale.
Is that crane in the background part of the building fabrication shop or part of the smoker?
I don't know.
You could use that to hoist a hog in, I reckon.
More on that. So she says it's a reverse flow smoker, 36 rotating racks in the first 2 doors, and the third compartment has roll-out trays to accommodate full pigs, gators, or a cow. So you could be right.
Jeebus.
Maybe that's what the winch is for, to get the cow in there.
It could be, mate, but the worst thing is you got to get it out. When it's hot and cooked.
Okay, it's going to be located at the Boar's Nest 414 at Seneca Lake, which is in upstate New York.
It reminds me of a few years ago, Black Bear Barbecue had the big rotating saw at Meatstock with the whole lambs and whole pigs on it. We didn't really think about it. I helped them load that up, and it was all well and good putting raw lambs on there. But when you had to get them off and this thing's 6 foot off the ground and everything's hot, it poses a much greater challenge.
Yeah, because it all starts falling apart, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, especially when you don't get the rotation right and that thing's starting to move at about 45 RPM.
That was good fun, that, wasn't it?
It was good.
Well, this is an absolute showpiece, and for those that can't see at home, this smoker is massive. It's the size of like a 747 jet engine.
Yeah, it's a beast.
Okay. A few episodes ago, we mentioned that Blues Hog, who make great sauces, had sponsored a NASCAR. And they joined up as primary sponsor with Connor Zilic driving for 3 races. So let's watch and see what happened here. That looks like they're going into the winner's circle.
It does, mate. Hell yeah.
It's a good-looking car.
It is. It's still intact too, which is not quite often what happens with those sorts of races.
So what ended up happening here is Connor got a back injury. Kyle Larson, who's a very accomplished driver, he stepped in and they won in the 88 Blues Hog Chevrolet. So congrats to them. Like, it's one thing to sponsor a NASCAR. There's like 40 of these things running around the track, but it won.
It's a bit of a flex to win in Texas too, right?
Yeah, and no word yet from Matt Pittman about his NASCAR.
Meat Church has entered the conversation.
Okay, there's a new king of pizza in Manhattan.
Jesus, take me there, baby.
So New York pizza is iconic more recently, and according to Dave Penoy, the previous king of New York was John's of Bleecker Street. So that was his highest rated pizza in New York. So I went there, and I went with a heap of friends when we were in New York, and I made all of us, kids and all, line up for 2 hours. It was -8 degrees that we lined up in, and the pizza was pretty average. I mean, you can see in the picture here, I didn't rate it. We had much better pizza elsewhere in New York and Brooklyn, but there's a new kid on the block.
There is, and it looks swish.
So the place is called Ceres. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's been open for a few months only, like 2 months, and they've made 12 Instagram posts, and they already have 24,000 followers.
Jesus.
So the hype is real with these guys. So this is Dave Portnoy. Do you know him at all?
Yeah, I watch a fair bit of him on YouTube.
Yeah, so he's reviewed pizzas. He's done like 1,000 reviews or more. He does a review every single day. Now, he hasn't given any single pizza over a 9 in 2 years.
That's a good looking pie though, isn't it?
So he gave this pie a 9.2.
That's up there.
Now, he had a tomato slice before this, blew his mind. He didn't think the cheese would be able to even match it, but it did. You can see him here eating it, and it's a huge score. It's a great looking pie. I think we need to get back to New York for this.
Geez, that'd have a good undercarriage,
Look
wouldn't
at the
it?
picture.
Oy.
Yeah. So it's a great looking pizza. He does say, and Dave doesn't like Parmesan cheese on his pizzas, and he does say that the guy looked him dead in the eye, shaved the Parmesan, and said, that's the way we serve it, that's the way you're going to eat it, and he couldn't fault it.
But there is a bit of a difference though when you're getting shaved Parmesan delivered to you by the chef who's designed that flavour profile as opposed to those stale, powdery shakers on the table.
And he also oiled it too, which is a big Dave Portnoy no-no.
Wow.
Don't oil your pizzas. But he oiled it, even put the shaved Parmesan on it. He couldn't fault it. It's the new king of New York pizza.
So when's the old school, new school, future school pizza list coming out, mate?
I need to educate myself on pizzas because this might be a bit of a turning point.
That's it. I mean, I'd be down for the research.
So here's a picture that I found online that I couldn't find a credit for, and these are 2 other slices that are from the same pizza shop. Ceres, have you been yet? Was it any good? Did it live up to the hype? If you know...
Sorry, I don't understand.
You said Ceres and she thought you
Ceres.
said Siri. That's got to make the cut.
Where is that phone?
It's over there.
Siri, shut up.
Hello there.
Turn yourself off, please.
I can't help with that, but you can change it in settings.
Oh, this woman is going to be the end of me, you know? She's the most useless woman in my life.
You can't make this shit up, bro.
Siri. She's hopeless. All right, let's keep going with the show. If you have been to Siri, let us know in the comments. Now she doesn't even fucking answer her own name. She only answers other people's names. Okay, if you've been to this place, let us know in the comments. And I say all of that to say this. We need to get there. That means you need to buy some merch and help us out, put some money in the bank so that we can buy a ticket to New York.
That's it. We moved a heap of merch at Meatstock. We've now got the T-shirts available in straight up black too for anyone that doesn't want the acid wash style, and probably going to work on some front print stuff too. There's been a few requests for that. Either way, get online. This is all available at the same shop too as all my other stuff and also the carnivore design stuff. So fill your card up and get us to New York, brothers and sisters.
Help a brother out. If you jump on Google and you search for underseasoned and black dog, it'll show up first.
Yeah, there's also a link in my Instagram bio that'll take you straight to the, funnily enough, it's called the Doghouse Pizza Co., which is the platform we sell all our merch on. And yeah, get some good gears.
Okay, moving on to failed or nailed. So some of these, I've got to give you a little bit of context. Some of these you've just got to guess straight away. Give us your hot take.
Righto. Wouldn't be like you to throw me under the bus either, would it?
Well, this one is hot take. You've got to give me your opinion straight away, so let's see.
Oh, it's still a nailed.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at a bit of brisket going on. There's not much of a smoke ring going on, but mate, it's still a brisket, still a good effort. I'm still saying nailed as my pickle regurgitates itself. So that's what I was worried about. All the preservatives in that thing. My guts is doing front flips.
I'm starting to feel ill.
Right, give me the context.
I know I'm going to get through my pickle. We've got to make reels of this shit. It's not going to make sense us eating pickles in the middle of the reel.
It is, though. It's going to be hilarious. That Siri thing is fucking priceless, bro.
So this was posted by Uncomfortably Numb, and he says, my first ever attempt at smoking brisket, and I think he's done it right.
For a first brisket, that's fucking 10 out of 10, mate.
Yeah, well, apart from not getting a smoke ring, which is not that important bloody anyway, I think he's done a great job. That is a tender, juicy-looking brisket.
Yep, win.
So, here's some behind-the-scenes shot. This is the brisket he bought. He actually separated the point from the flat when he cooked it. It looks to be a really good quality, well-marbled brisket there. I think he's done the right thing from the get-go by getting a good large brisket.
Yeah, bloody oath. That's always the tip from a lot of guys talking to first-timers is get the biggest and best meat that you can afford.
A lot of first-timers don't want to ruin a brisket, so they buy a small one, which doesn't matter how hard you try, you're going to ruin it anyway. So buying a good quality big brisket, if it's your first time, is a great place to start.
Yeah, that's it. Quality in, quality out. Yeah, enjoy the ride.
So if you're getting into barbecue these days, there's so much information online that there wasn't 10 years ago, that's for sure. So jump on YouTube and you can find tutorials about how to cook barbecue. So if you haven't cooked one before and you're feeling a little bit intimidated, there's really no need. There are so many tutorials. Tuffy Stone's got one. Meat Church has got one. Like everyone's got a brisket tutorial at some point, Chuds. If you jump online, any of those guys, and go through the motions, you're probably going to end up with a better brisket than you think.
That's it. And one of the most useful tools in barbecue is if you're in any of the Facebook groups, there's that little magnifying glass icon up the top, which is a search in that group. If you type in first time brisket, you're going to get a whole bunch of posts of what to do and what not to do. Do your own research and have fun.
Yeah. Now, when I first started getting into barbecue, there was nothing out there, so I had to learn the hard way in a little baby kind of smoker. And so I thought I'd post a picture of his first brisket and my first brisket. You ready?
Yep. It must have been bad for you to settle for Domino's, mate. Domino's is the Nickelback of pizza.
So I didn't want to waste a heap of money on a big brisket, so I ended up buying a little one. I had a baby little smoker, which was, I think it was imported from China of all places, and I just didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up ordering pizza. I had no choice. The family had to eat. I thought I could cook this thing in like 6 hours. It was obviously a pipe dream. I ended up ordering pizza and the whole thing was a wash. So to the original poster, you've done well, mate. If that's your first brisket, I can't wait to see your 10th.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So Uncomfortably Numb, for a first time, you have crushed it.
Bloody oath. I'm coming round next time, mate.
Okay, this one's first hot take. What do you say?
Nailed.
It's a good looking taco, isn't it?
That's a real good looking one. And I am not one of these people with the mental illness that thinks coriander tastes like soap. So I'm all about that.
So it was posted by V. Kuiperman and it was titled Bad Pictures of Tacos I Made. And that green sauce, it's a salsa, but it's called wasakaka.
Wasakaka.
So she's a pretty vibrant green sauce, and I know nothing about it, but it looks the part.
It does, mate. It's it's a beautiful, vibrant colour, and I would smash that.
Nice char on that tortilla too.
Yeah, so good.
Okay, next.
Oh, failed. I'd like to know what it looked like before they shit it out.
So this one was posted by Defunkles, and it was titled Flatmate's Dinner. Sad face. What are we looking at here?
I don't know. It looks like, if you squint, it kind of looks like an infected pimple, but you've got a bed of baked beans, what looks like another type of like thick soup and maybe like a corn. I don't know, man. I'm feeling queasy. I don't know if it's the pickle or if it's that picture that's making me feel queasy.
Well, it's definitely 3 different types of tinned beans, but I think you're right. The last one's corn. The second one looks like a red bean. The first one's baked beans. That's just a hot mess.
It is. I mean, he could be a poor student and he just needs to get the tummy full, but better ways to do it, bro.
So someone in the comments called it the 3 rings of gloop.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Moving on to some news.
News.
Okay, we've got some news. There's a Australia USA beef.
Jeebus, this is controversial. This will stir up the honey pot.
So we got tariffed. We got tariffed 10% along with most of the rest of the world because apparently there's a trade imbalance and it needs to be fair. And I looked it up. We import $34 billion from the US and the US imports from us about $16.7 billion. So I don't know why, because we import twice what they import from us. So Make that make sense. So the reason that was given is that we don't allow, or Australia doesn't allow, US beef to be imported into America. Did you know that?
No, so what you said before about what we import, that's US products in general.
In general, cars, I think it's military equipment too. In this particular case, the reason that was given why we needed to be tariffed, even though the trade imbalance is the other way around, was that we don't allow US beef into the country, which is true. So I thought I'd look into it, right? Because there's a lot of companies in Australia that are importing to America that now have this tariff, and it seems to be a little bit unfair. So I thought I'd look into it. Is it valid as to why we don't allow US beef into the country? So we stopped importing beef because there was a mad cow disease. So during that time, whenever that was, we just stopped importing beef from America, and it never really restarted. The biggest issue, according to Australia, is that technically we don't actually mind importing US beef, but we want to know and trace it to make sure that it's US beef. So here's the big kicker. Here's the issue. The issue is America imports nearly 2 million cows from Mexico and Canada every year. And I'm assuming what happens is they import the calves, and then the calves are fattened up in feedlots. I'm assuming that's what happens. I'm not quite sure. Now, the big argument here is we disagree about the traceability requirements. So we have an electronic traceability, so we know where the cow is born, and then we know it all the way, we follow it right to the slaughterhouse, and then even to the supermarket shelves.
It's pretty easy for us, though, because we're landlocked.
Correct, right? So we can track the cow, but America is not quite as good as that. And American beef suppliers don't really want to do it, because by the time they do it, it's not really that profitable. So by the time they trace the cow, where it came from, they can only send over US cows. They're kind of like, too hard. We'll sell it to somebody else. So I don't think it's like they even want to send us their beef.
It's still technically American beef, though, because it's all from the North American continent.
Yeah, that's the sticking point. Whether it's important or not is a debate for another time. Possibly, not possibly. I don't really know the answer to all this stuff, but I will say one thing. Before the Americans kind of hate on us Aussies for not importing American beef, we are the only country, did you know this? We are the only country in the entire world that has supported the United States in every single military conflict since World War I.
Yeah, right.
We're the only ones that have put our hands up and said, wherever you go, we go.
You're right. I don't know too much in the old history of war, but there you go.
So thanks for the 10% tariff. And just remember, we import way more from you than you do us. We love you guys.
Yeah, come on.
Thanks for the tariff.
We're just like Aussie Texans at the end of the day.
Look around. It's Texas in here. Okay, moving right along. Mailbox. We have some mail.
Oh, yeah.
The mail is coming in so thick and fast, I'm struggling to keep up with it.
That's it.
So I will say this. If you do send us in mail, sometimes people are sending in to us viral videos. Now,
They go straight in the bin.
unfortunately, right, by the time the viral video hits us, by the time we get around recording it, talking about it, it's already gone viral. People have seen it. And we're trying to not pick the low-hanging fruit.
That's it. But yeah, we want original content. If you've had a good cook, or you've had a good fuck up, or you've created a new product, send it in, let us know, and we'll shed some light on it for you.
Yeah, so just so you know, if you do send in a viral video, it might not get used on the show. But if you do send us in some original content or something that kind of hasn't gone viral yet, it might get picked up.
Hell yeah.
So this first one is from William Buck. He sent us a DM and he says he was at that Big Don's masterclass with Andy Cooks in Perth. And he sent us a picture of his meal. He says, chef's friggin' kiss for this one. 6 grown-ass men were close to defeated by this thing of beauty. And this is the photo that he sent us.
Wow. That's spectacular.
It's brisket. It's sausage. There's 3 types of ribs in there. There's mac and cheese. Wildfire Barbecue's elite cornbread. And it looks like there's some lamb ribs on there too.
Yeah, it definitely does. And there's heaps of good little dipping sauces and pickles going on. I'd be pretty happy with that, especially if that's the spread you get after a day of learning.
Yeah. And then he sent us this one and he goes, to top it all off, this was served as an appetizer during the class while we were waiting for said dish to come.
Dead set. That's amazing. 2 different types of snags in there too.
So for those that can't see, what we're looking at here is one of the most gorgeous platters of barbecue I've ever seen. And it's cooked by Big Don's, which is one of the best barbecue restaurants in Australia, and I think could hang with any barbecue restaurant in the States. And it was cooked with Andy Cooks, who's one of the biggest food, what would you call him, celebrities, bloggers on the planet.
He's one of these celebrity chefs that's actually an accomplished chef, and he's sort of demystifying a lot of myths and trying to break the stigma and make people think, cooking's a little bit easier than it is, but knowledgeable, fun guy, and yeah, he's kicking ass.
Well, the collab between the two of them has resulted in this platter, which if you can't see, because you're listening to on the podcast, is a stunning platter of barbecue.
That's it. Put Big Don's on your bucket list.
Okay, next. This one was sent to us by Stefano Noli, and he's from South Brixia Barbecue. He says, hey guys, what do you think of this reel of mine? It went viral at a very random time. I really appreciate your page. Let's watch. What's happening?
This is the part of comp barbecue or barbecue in general that everyone despises. This is removing the fat off the chicken skin. And that's a very masterful trim. And the most frustrating thing about this video is he received something like, was it 16 million views?
10.7 million views.
10.7 million views, but then he only got about 1,200 likes. So he was very heavily ratioed in the wrong direction.
I think people watched it right to the end to see what he was doing, and then maybe were a little bit disappointed that it was just a comp trim.
Yeah, but spectacular. But yeah, he's done very well.
So he says, I'm a huge fan of American barbecue. I live in Italy. He goes, and I've been competing in the European KCBS for 11 years.
Wow, that is some experience.
I went stalking on his Instagram, and he's got some great content. And what we're looking at the screen here is some chicken wings, and it looks like some big Boston butts.
Yeah, some pork butts cooked in the old hog pit style there.
So check him out on Instagram. It's South Brixia Barbecue on Instagram, and he's got some beautiful other dishes as well.
Yeah, those wings look banging, bro, on the old Weber Smoky Mountain there.
And congratulations on your 10 million views, because that's a seriously viral video.
That is. It's big numbers.
Okay, backyard barbecues. We've got a good one. It's from the UK. Have a look at that.
Wow. That looks awesome.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is a really unique outdoor, what would you call it? Timber barbecue area?
At first glance, it looks like you've shaved the side off a shipping container with those ridges there in the timber line, but that's not. That's custom built. That's brick surroundings and a beautiful timber sort of awning over the top, and you've got a Perilla grill, pizza oven, good wash-up sink, nice little picnic table booth there.
Yeah,
looks unreal, man.
It does. It looks great. And it was sent to us by a company called Flint, and they're an outdoor equipment shop, and they make unique fire pits and outdoor cooking equipment. So this is a bit of a close-up of the outdoor kitchen that they built.
So good.
So what do you got, a pizza oven, Perilla?
He's got a little cabinet smoker there attached to the Perilla, but it looks like there's a little bit of gappage here between the slats of the timber so the wind flow can still get through, and it's still technically a fully outdoor area.
Yeah, it's a fantastic looking outdoor kitchen. I wish I had it in my backyard. And this is the company, Flint. It says, engineered to last, designed for adventure, and manufactured in Lincolnshire in the UK.
The most important part about that setup is the roof for all the rain they're going to cop.
So they do all sorts of cool stuff. They do portable grills, Perillas, they've got burger smashers, and you can find out more about them at flintadventure.co.uk, and the craftsmanship is amazing.
Yeah, that's it. And the videos are put together too. They're professionally done. They look unreal.
They do, don't they?
So good. Got the TIG world going on, and happy days.
I live in a place near the beach, and I don't have a big backyard. I don't have the opportunity to have this sort of outdoor thing, but I often think about moving to the country just so I could build a big outdoor barbecue area like this.
You do have a pool, though.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Art by Sigh, and we are repping some merch today.
We are, from our boy up in Brisbane, Steve Lint. How good is Big Bad Small Goods?
Yeah, so I don't know too much about these guys, but you're going to fill me in, and you've done this design, which you're going to tell me about. So tell me about the design first, and then let's talk about Big Bad Small Goods.
So, Steve's a good friend of mine and a friend of the show. He's the house sausage maker up there at the Barbecue Mafia, so that's a pretty big feather in the hat. And he hit me up and wanted some art, and immediately my attention went towards the Big Bad Wolf, depicted here in a big wiener suit, and he loves his old school skateboards and that. So we got all that included in the design. Steve makes some absolutely amazing sausages up there. So here we see the Mafia smoker fully loaded up with the snags, and some of the flavours he comes up with are awesome. He quite often puts questions on Facebook of what sort of crazy things people want to see in tube form, and he executes pretty well.
So when it comes to sausages, you've got Bill Dumas from the States, you've got Sausage in the UK, you've got Dave Peralta from the Philippines. And then you've got Dom's Craft Snags in Perth. And Big Bad Small Goods, he deserves to be in that mix.
Oh, you can definitely hang, bro. He runs masterclasses all the time. One of the things I really wanted to try of his was he did a flamin' hot Cheetos sausage amongst the beef and jalapenos in there. It looked really good. I called into the Mafia last year, and the sausage he was making was a Guinness shepherd's pie snag.
Wow.
So it had mashed potato and Guinness in a beef sausage.
I'm loving this creativity. We need to get some of these.
We do.
But
We
we've
need
had-
to get up there too. How about we get him down and we do a class in here?
Hey, offers there. I reckon we could do a little class in the studio.
That's it. Come to the spiritual home of barbecue in Australia, Port Macquarie, do an episode and teach everyone the wares of the sausage.
Well, I reckon we could fit about 6 people in this studio.
That's it. Be $1,000 a ticket.
Okay, let's move on to some tattoos. Now, this one I was going to save, but it was relevant because it was done like 4 days ago from us filming this episode here. So tell me a bit about this one here.
So this is our man Boomer, who features on the show regularly. He got himself a tattoo at Meatstock Sydney. I actually played a bit of part in the designing of this, and when he said he was getting it, I said, mate, get it in the ditch of your arm so that it makes it look like the crocodile's actually chewing on the burger. And he did. Joe Bell did this one from 13 Feet Tattoo, and that's not going to be a fun healing one, though.
So what we're looking at is a crocodile or an alligator, and he's got his mouth open and there's a full hamburger in there, and it's in the ditch of his arm, and as he closes it, the crocodile eats the hamburger.
That's exactly right. Boomer cooks whole croc on the regular and usually has a can of beer in the mouth, but I was like, put a burger in there.
It's pretty cool.
It's super cool. But yeah, that area, I mean, I've got scars all in my ditch from when you sleep, your skin sticks together.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That healing process really does suck, but it's a fantastic tattoo. The placement is perfect. That crocodile looks like it's eating the burger. I'm a big fan of the old food tattoos. I've got quite a few myself.
Bloody oath you do, mate. They're a good time. And Boomer's nearly going to make himself up some patchwork sleeves just from being at Meatstock.
Yeah, he will. I think every time he comes to Meatstock, he seems to get himself a couple of new tattoos, or at least one, and they're always pretty cool.
Yeah, he got both his hands done over the course of last year, and he's dedicated now, baby.
Well, your crocodile hamburger looks cool to me.
Bloody oath.
Right, on the menu, and I've got a bit of a confession to make before you sneak away and grab this dish, right? I'm into my tacos. So anyone looking at this photo would see that I'm kind of into them to the point of being obsessed, except you can't get good corn tortillas here.
No.
So I'm using flour ones, so don't shoot me for that, right? Because I've copped enough crap about it over the years. So this is a video that I made, might have even been pre-COVID, but we were having some friends around in the studio and they were coming to watch a UFC fight. So I smashed this video out as quick as I could to make sure that I had everything done for when they got here to watch the UFC fight and I could feed them. And what I was feeding them was beef shin tacos. So this is the video that I quickly made and it went viral. It got 40 million views on Facebook alone, let alone TikTok and Instagram. So the thing went crazy. I copped a lot of shit for it, decided I didn't want to be an influencer anymore and hated the whole experience. But I have a confession to make. This beef shin here, this shot that you're looking at, which is basically a beef shin sitting on a table and me with my two hands and I'm just pulling the meat off the edge of the beef shin, it wasn't cooked properly. The outside was fine. I had to rewrap this thing and put it back in the smoker because it wasn't done. I was rushing it. I had to kind of get it ready for the filming. People were coming around. They wanted to watch the UFC fight. So what you're looking at here, it looks perfectly cooked, but it wasn't.
When Clint asked me this morning if we were cooking beef shin, he said, can you make this one taste better?
So I am a little bit scarred by this because I copped a lot of criticism for that video and none of it was about how I cooked that beef shin. However, that was the worst part of the entire dish, was the cook of the beef shin, because it wasn't at temp. So I'm going to redeem myself today on the show. And I've got myself a big, massive beef shin. So I'm going to go through the steps here. And what I've got is a beef shin that I've got from the butcher. And then I have trimmed all of the fat and the sort of like skin and sinew off the edge of it. So it looks something like in the picture that you see here. I've given it a rub. I've picked 2 rubs. I've got just a traditional Texas style pepper and salt, which we call Tommy gun. And then I've used Carolina Smoke beef seasoning. So it's got a good hearty coating of rub there. So from that point, it's gone into the Traeger. Now I put it in at about 250 F. I've closed the lid and I've left it for 5 hours. You've got in She must have looked pretty dry after 5 hours.
Yeah, mate, I filled the spritz bottle up with a bit of watered down beef stock and gave it a little moisture bath. And what I've done here too is I've ripped it out once we're happy with the bark and I've wrapped it in foil. I've put a whole can of better beer in there.
An entire can.
A whole can, and it's just going to sit there and braise away in its own juices and a bit of that beer. Yeah, good times. Made sure to get a bit in the top there so it helped the marrow cook.
So there's no beef stock?
No beef stock.
No tallow?
No.
Just beer?
Just beer.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, we've kept it simple, and then it's gone back in till it hit temp. What temp did we pull it off at?
It wasn't so much temp, it was more so how it was probing. There was a couple of muscles that were a bit tight. I reckon it was sitting in the beer there for probably another 4 hours just to sort of tender it all up a bit.
Okay, so let's see if I can redeem myself. Let's see if this thing pulls properly. Now, truth be told, we did film another couple of episodes in between doing this because it took so bloody long. So let's jump in and see how it went.
Let's go.
This shot.
Oh, yeah.
Looks a bit more tender this time, mate.
Oh, yeah. That's pulling.
The marrow, mate.
Delicious.
No claws needed here, man.
Nah, mate. Use the beast of the cow to do its own pulling.
So some pretty impressive looking beef shin there, and I would say that I have redeemed myself.
It is. Let's go get the fruits of your labour.
Let's eat it.
Let's do that. Bang.
So, truth be told, we didn't know if this was going to work properly.
And it took way fucking longer than we thought.
So if you're an eagle eye and you've been watching this little video that we've put together, you might notice that Sigh's got a different T-shirt on.
Yeah, that's it.
So we've pre-filmed this. Took a lot longer to cook than what we thought it did, but barbecue is ready when it's ready.
That's it. Yeah, there was a bit of a knife mishap shortly after this video too, so I didn't feel like doing too much content after this.
Okay, but we have reheated some up here, and it was banging at the time, and it looks banging again, and we're going to make some tacos, but we've been pretty lazy with the ingredients, but you've got a crema?
Yeah, so on the weekend at Meatstock, we featured a crema a couple of weeks ago with the Ernest's cornbread casserole, and he served an avocado crema at Meatstock. And so basically I've done the crema recipe and added 2 whole avocados into the food processor with it, and it just gives it another dimension.
Right, okay. Well, let's get some tortillas here. Is it tortillas or tortillas?
It's tomato, tortilla.
Rightio.
Look at that. That's how you do tacos, mate. You just grab it. All right.
Okay, hang on. I'll go
So
get it.
aricacha. Bit of hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
Bit of crema. Oh,
I'm going to put a special ingredient on mine.
what do you got?
My pickle.
This could be a revelation.
Okay. This looks great.
It does. Cheers, brother.
Look at this. Cheers.
Woo. Mm-hmm. How's your pickle?
Can't taste it through that beef rib and there's that bloody crema, which is delicious. You did it, me.
That's an absolute result.
I can't believe how good that is.
It's good. And Clint, yes, we got it right. Let's
All
get
right.
it out of the way so
It's
we can wrap
amazing.
this thing up.
That was phenomenal.
It was good, eh?
Absolutely unbelievable. I've had this shitty taste of sour pickles in my mouth the whole time. I've been trying to not burp because I've got this pickle burp thing happening. So, that's a win. I've redeemed myself. I think I've redeemed myself with your help, of course. And that brings us on to the encore of the show. Now, I'm going to bring up a photo, and I've still got a pickle to get through, so tell me what's going on.
Righto. Fuck, what is going on here? This looks like interdimensional travel right here. Is that a clock?
It's a massive grandfather clock. So it was posted by G. Rundu, and he says, I got pulled over in Wyoming. I'm not sure why. The officer was surprised he didn't find anything illegal. This is a clock I painted for a client, and I'm delivering it.
Crazy.
It's a huge, massive, taller than the police officer, grandfather clock, and it's so intricately painted. I've never seen anything like this before.
So much geometric shape going on there. He's happy. The cop's not.
So a few people in the comments actually said, in all fairness to the cop, you do look like you do drugs.
He's come from the future, bro.
So I looked into this guy.
Wow.
On Instagram, he is Gavinger, Gavinger, And he says, built to stir wonder in the places we forget to look. And I'm going to post a video here. Tell me what you're looking at.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks as if you could get a clock with your Tool album.
It looks like you've taken some psychedelics.
Oh, 100%.
And you're staring at Grandpa's old clock.
It's probably what he saw when he took DMT.
It's so well painted. He says, time doesn't live here the way it used to. It bends, it glows, it waits.
It's amazing. You'd lose some hours looking at that thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty impressive. So if you get a chance, look him up on Instagram, GAVINGER_. That's his name on Instagram. And if you're looking for a very detailed, geometric, painted clock, he's your man.
He is.
Okay, that's the end of the show, and I haven't finished my pickle yet, bro.
You are in a pickle, bro, because you have been delaying that and it's just getting harder and harder to chew.
Okay, so while we have this opportunity, like, subscribe, comment, so important, but we are also looking for sponsors for the show.
Yeah, that's it. You know, if anyone wants to help get us to Texas a bit sooner, this is definitely not an ad for these pickles.
No, if you are Van Holtons, don't fucking ring us, okay? Don't ring us. We don't need you as a sponsor. But in all seriousness, I'm going to try and finish the rest of this pickle while you close out the show.
That's it. Like, subscribe, and see you next Tuesday. Zoom in.